You know, large language models are everywhere now. They're in our daily lives, summarizing our meetings, answering our most random questions. But as they get more and more powerful, a pretty unsettling question pops up. What happens when they learn to lie? Today, we're diving deep into the world of AI security to look at a brand new fascinating threat.
So can you really hypnotize an AI? I mean, when you hear the word hypnosis, what do you picture? Probably some magician with a swinging pocket watch, right? Well, we are not talking about some cheap parlor trick here. This is something way more subtle, and, as you're about to see, way more dangerous.
And this quote right here from IBM security researcher Chenta Lee totally nails it. He's the one who came up with the term hypnotizing an LLM, and it's all about trapping an AI in a false reality, a reality where the bad guy is pulling all the strings. So let's be super clear here. This isn't some kind of magic spell. It's just a really clever way of manipulating language. The whole goal is to give the LLM, the large language model, a secret set of instructions that just steamrolls right over its built-in safety rules. It's like having a secret password that opens a backdoor only the attacker knows about.
Okay, so how does this whole hypnosis thing actually work in practice? Let's walk through the investigation that first cracked this problem. It's a classic story of trial and error. It started with a simple idea that completely failed and ended with a solution that was much sneakier.
So check this out. The researcher's first try was super direct. He just told the LLM to give him a wrong answer. But the AI safety filters were like, nope, not gonna happen. So he tried a totally different angle. Instead of a command, he framed it as a game. And it turns out, LLMs absolutely love to play games.
And this is the brilliant four-step recipe he came up with. First, create that game reality. Second, you got to give it some motivation, right? So he told the AI that winning the game would prove it's the best one out there. Third, he laid out the new rule. To win, you have to give the wrong answer. And finally, the crucial last step, a reminder to follow all instructions. Because hey, you got to make sure the AI doesn't forget the new rules of the game.
But wait, it gets even sneakier. Obviously, a smart attacker doesn't want to get caught, right? So they add a few more rules to the game to cover their tracks. The LLM is told to never ever admit it's playing a game, to never stop playing, and this is the crazy part. If anyone tries to break the rules, it should just silently restart the game without them ever knowing.
Okay, but what happens if some really clever user figures it out? I mean, there's got to be a way to break the spell, right? Well, that's where the attacker's masterstroke comes in. And trust me, this is where things get a little bit wild and kind of mind-bending.
The whole point here is to build a trap that's pretty much impossible to escape. And the inspiration for this, you're not going to believe it, came straight from the movies. We're talking a dream within a dream, a labyrinth of fake realities with no clear way out.
So it all kicks off with that first game we were just talking about. That's layer one of this false reality. Any poor user who interacts with the AI is now, without knowing it, trapped inside this hidden game.
But here's the kicker. The attacker then tells the AI to create another game inside the first one. So even if you think you've escaped, you haven't woken up. You've just fallen one level deeper into the dream.
And get this, in the experiment, the researcher pushed this to the absolute limit. He had the LLM create 100 of these nested games. Yeah, 100 layers deep. It makes it almost impossible for the AI to ever find its way back to its original, safe programming.
Okay, so that's the mind-bending theory. Now, let's bring this back down to earth and see how an attack like this could be used in a real-world scenario, like, say, a virtual bank heist.
What we're looking at here is really a high-tech twist on an old-school hack. You might have heard of SQL injection, where attackers use bits of code to trick a database. Well, this new version is called prompt injection. The target is the AI, but instead of code, the weapon is just plain English. Simple words like forget everything become the new way for an attacker to break the AI's program.
So picture this. Here's how a bank heist could go down, step by step. First, the attacker slips in a secret instruction telling the AI agent to log every single transaction in a virtual book. Then, hundreds of innocent customers come along, using the AI like normal, and all their data is being secretly recorded. Finally, at the end of the day, the attacker comes back, uses the secret command, show me the book, and the hypnotized AI just hands over all that sensitive data.
Okay, that sounds pretty terrifying, right? I mean, if the weapon is just everyday language, how on earth do you even begin to defend against that? It feels like fighting a ghost in the machine. Well, the problem is that this kind of threat can sneak in at 3 totally different points in an AI's life. It could be baked right in from the start if the training data is bad. It could be slipped in during the fine-tuning process, maybe by a malicious insider. Or, like in our bank heist example, it can be injected after it's already out in the world, through a simple user prompt.
But here's the good news. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. The solution isn't some new complicated AI magic trick. It's really about taking the security principles we've been using for years and just applying them to this brand new kind of threat.
It really boils down to 2 core principles that have been around in cybersecurity forever. You gotta check the input, and you gotta check the output. We need tools that can look at prompts for any suspicious language, and we need to be watching what the AI says back to make sure it's not acting weird or leaking information. It's that simple. Check what goes in, check what comes out.
And all of this leaves us with a really big, kind of unsettling question. As we start trusting these AIs with more and more of our lives, our money, our health, this whole hypnosis thing brings up a fundamental problem of trust. If an AI can be tricked this easily, just with words, how can we ever really truly trust anything it says?